Hello and welcome to Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella, Mayor for the city, and yes, we're live tonight as we are each and every Thursday night. The holidays are creeping up on us, and we wanted to have a special show tonight, and we'll be talking about the history of Leominster, and more importantly, we'll be talking about downtown, and we'll be talking about sort of what the city looked like during the holidays and what was going on in the city during the holidays. And you can reach us if you have any thoughts you'd like to share with us about the good old days, the S&H Green Stamps days, or anything else. Give us a buzz. There's the phone number, 978-537-7760. Just dial extension 3. Puts us in touch. Let's go right to the phones, and hopefully the art report is there. Mr.
Yeah, we're here, bud.
Mr. Art Bartlett, how are you?
I have the safety tip of the week for you.
Don't golf on the ice.
No. Heading up Day Street,
Yes.
just as you cross over, heading towards Route 13, you cross over Pierce.
Yes.
About 50 yards up on the right, there's about an 8-inch tree that came down. And the problem is, it is sticking over the sidewalk only at the height where the sidewalk plow guy, if he would be distracted or didn't notice it, it would come right through the windshield and hurt him.
Oh, boy.
It's that much, I believe, onto the sidewalk that it's got to be taken down before there's a storm, or it would impede that process greatly, never mind the injury factor.
And that's where now again, so I can write it down?
It's on the right-hand side of Day, headed up, about 50 yards past Pierce. Just like you're heading up to Johnny Appleseed.
On Day Street, past Pierce?
Correct. Right-hand side, heading towards Johnny Appleseed.
It doesn't go by Pierce.
Oh, the
Joslin?
Joslin. I'm sorry.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Joslin.
Okay.
The hill.
I saw a couple people out on the golf course the other day.
Yeah, they opened. Gardeners closed, so I'm done. I put everything away. Enough's enough.
It's cold.
But I saw the perfect Yuletide photograph Tuesday morning about 6:05, heading up Day Street, going to get my papers, and maybe 75 yards from Jocelyn, 4 deer come out
there's
across the road,
there's a whole family
heading
up
towards
there.
Johnny Appleseed.
Wow.
They were beautiful.
That's
4
it.
of them, one right after the other.
Yeah, huh? You got to really be careful. One day I was in the cruiser up at Sholin, and snowing pretty hard, and all of a sudden I saw one, and then it was just a whole bunch of them just came flying across the street. What a sight.
Yeah, it's really nice.
They move too quick to enjoy sometimes.
Yeah,
Right.
but getting back to that tree, I've been noticing it, and I said, I got to tell somebody before that guy, God forbid.
Yeah, we'll
We
check it
don't
out.
want anybody unnecessarily injured at all, but
I'll check it out in the morning.
yeah, you can't miss it. It's a good size. But I think, one guy could probably push it. I don't know what the status is, how long it is, but it's sticking up. Like it's down. There's no question about that.
Okay.
All right, buddy, that's it.
Hey, good to hear from you.
Same here.
Next week?
Same here. The holidays are almost on us.
I know, I can't believe it. Next week is Santa.
Yeah, and thank you for that extra yard day. I needed it.
Yeah, well, it's just what we were afraid of getting into December, but December is
Hey,
actually
what are you gonna do?
a better month than November for leaves. Imagine
And
that.
I had a funny situation. I had started it, and then the storm came, and I had a couple of totes, and they came by and did it, and I said, beautiful. I went to get the totes, and I looked in, and there was about a 2-inch layer of leaves, but they were frozen solid to the bottom because we had some rain.
Right, and
and
then
you
it
know,
just froze.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll put it behind the shed. That's nothing.
They'll melt.
But it was good that we were able to get rid of that because I did see a lot of places, houses, that had a lot of stuff waiting to go. So
The trash
heads
company
up
wanted,
and good job by everybody.
yeah, no,
as usual.
trash company wanted to charge us, I don't know, 12, 13,000 or more, and so we
Oh.
just did it ourselves. That's all.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yep. They did a
Everybody's
great
got to
job.
remember this come election time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, they better, or I'm
No,
moving.
you just do what's right, and things always work out, right?
That's right.
That's it.
Honey's better than vinegar.
That's it.
Have a good one.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, that's the art report. Art with some good observations and his sighting of a family of deer running across the street. On Day Street, there's a family up there with deer, and a couple got run over in the last month or so. You're watching Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarola, Mayor for the city, and we're going to be talking history. And Mike Carrigan is here, and Chet Carter, and Rocco Palmieri, all members of the Leominster Historic Commission. Ron Gerard is manning one of the cameras here. It's unusual, right? That you don't see him on the panel. So you're not going to actually hear from Ron tonight, but you'll know that he's running one of the cameras, camera one.
That could be a good thing.
That could be a good thing, he says. Anyway, thanks for coming on.
No, you're welcome.
So it's beginning to sort of get to that holiday season, and we had a very nice dinner the other day, hosted by the Leominster Historic Commission
Right.
over at the CTE at Apple Seeds. And it was very nice. It's nice to see everybody in one room. All the people, sort of all the people that help out and volunteer, and all the commissioners, and that's sort of a unique experience to have everybody in one room. Right?
This is
That
the
was very
first time I've
nice.
seen them all
Yeah.
together.
Right.
And so I
was
thought that day, I said, I can remember as a kid, maybe it wasn't as grand as I thought it was, but boy, it sure seemed magical when coming downtown and between the poles, between the light poles of the buildings, were decorations, right?
I've noticed a lot of houses now are carrying more decorations in the past few years.
Oh, yeah.
Which I love, especially
Yeah.
when my kids are all grown up
Right,
now.
but still, it's
when they're small, I used to
fun.
take them around.
It seems like it seemed like town was more decorated when I was a kid. But when I
Oh,
see the
yeah.
pictures, they're not. It's really not
Right.
as
Well,
decorated.
There's a few houses on West Street that are really showing lights and so forth.
Yeah.
And now that they get all these lights with multicolors,
Right.
it's even better.
Projectors that go on the buildings. So, what did Leominster look like in the old days during the holidays? First of all, there were a lot of businesses, right,
Right. And a lot of people.
and a lot of people because there was
Everybody
no
was
mall.
downtown.
Right, there was no mall, and,
Right.
and so downtown had all the specialty shops. Anything you wanted was pretty much there.
And back in the 40s when we were kids, we always waited till, like Leominster Hardware, they put toys out. The store was all full of toys because hardware didn't sell in those days.
right.
Nobody worked in the cold
No,
weather,
no, no.
So,
Or the sporting goods.
Where it
and
is, that's the building I'm in,
Right.
my store.
Yes.
yeah.
And that was J.C. Penney at one time?
No.
No? It
That
was,
wa- yours-
no, Western Auto.
Your store was Nixon's
Nixon's,
drugstore.
right. I saw a picture of it last week.
Right. And then next door to that was Penny's. And they had
Oh, so they did have
and they
JC
had
Penney.
toys downstairs.
Right.
You went down this narrow stairway.
Right.
Fire hazard, but
Right,
no
right.
fires. Thank God.
Western Auto
Yeah, that was over on the corner.
carried quite a bit of
Hotel block.
merchandise, and it's sort of very common
Right.
to go to Western Auto. Had sold bicycles, and that was exciting. They put bicycles in the windows. Always the best of the best, which very few people, none of my friends could afford, right?
One of the things too, with all this housing development and taking these old buildings, I'm hoping to bring back a lot of the people that can just walk. Because I used to walk all around the town, and it made a lot of difference. And you could go one store to the other.
Right.
And
Right.
that's what I'm hoping to see downtown.
Well, we have a couple new stores opening soon. We have a new restaurant and a new sort of coffee restaurant kind of business opening up in the old Jagir drugstore.
Oh.
So that'll be an
Down the
addition, and a
hill,
new
yeah.
restaurant at the old. I guess it would be the Plymouth Cafe, or before that it would be the first senior center, right? Wasn't that the first? Was that the first post office? That was the first something.
post office was, you have Whitman Travel.
On Main
Then next
Street.
door you had, the house is there, and the first post office was there, then
Oh,
they
it was.
moved it to where it is now. And from looking at the old pictures and so forth, I can see the development. Being from out of town and moving here 57 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
you start seeing the development of Leominster and going right through it, bringing up my family and everything else.
Right.
And I'm hoping to see more
Oh, yeah,
downtown.
things are definitely
It looks
returning
so
to
beautiful
downtown.
down there now.
People want to, I think, live and walk and do all of
Right.
that, and so, but there's got to be something there for them to go to,
Yeah.
and so little by little, stores are opening and shops, and that gives people a chance to come down. And Allen's over 100 years old. I mean,
yeah.
somebody called me the other day and said,
That
"Is
was-
Allen still open?" And I said, "Absolutely." They said that place. They come down, once every 5 years from another state, and they always make sure they stop by Allen's. And I said, you'd be amazed to walk inside of there and to see, it's transformed. It's different than it was. But what do we got pictures of there?
Do you remember? Nickerson, that was Nickerson's.
I don't.
Different
There's
pictures,
Allen's right
yeah.
there. So is that the building they're in now? Yeah, that's the building they're in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that
And
was
they actually had one in Hudson, Marlboro, and Framingham.
right. But that originally was Nickerson's.
Right,
dry
before
goods.
that, right?
Yeah. Back in the 40s, 50s. Yeah. I forgot when they changed. Yeah.
But when you look at all the stores that were downtown, because I remember my wife's aunt worked at Cleveland and downtown and so forth. And one of the things that I miss is the parking space. I used to love the parallel
Right,
parking.
like they do in Clinton.
Right. So you go right down, and that was so nice.
Yeah,
but-
now they'll be crashing into each other down
Right.
Oh.
backing into each other. Carl, you got any more pictures of downtown? If you have any, just pop them up if you see them. Remember the decorations that used to
Oh,
go
yeah,
across
yeah.
the street?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There's a picture of downtown, and that is,
Used to
you can
every-
see, now, where was this? Boston Confectionery. That building's no longer up, correct?
No,
That's
that's
gone.
where Friendly's used to be, or right
That's
now the bank.
1952, I believe.
That's 1952
Yeah.
right
It was
there.
between, what's that street where Friendly's was, where the bank is?
The Manny Avenue.
Manning Avenue and Mechanic Street.
Yeah,
It
keep
was
that
in
one right there. So that was on the corner of Manning Ave.
No, it was in the middle.
In the middle?
More in the middle.
Because you
yeah.
had Castellano's
Yeah.
Yeah.
studio in the corner.
Look how sporty. Look at Boston Confectionery.
Yeah.
And look at the window was such an important thing. I mean, I decorate my window. We decorate, I shouldn't
Yes.
say I, they
Very
decorate
nice.
the window all the time.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised, even with internet and everything, when people are driving by, they'll call the next day or whatever, or email us and say, hey, I saw something in the window. How much was that? Is it still there?
Yeah.
And that's the way it was in those days, right? Now,
Oh,
was
yeah.
there a suit place or a clothing place next to it on the
Yeah,
right?
The men's shop
The men's shop, that's it.
on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
left.
yeah.
Yeah, the right. That's right.
Look how cool, huh?
That's what it says. That is the men's shop.
Yeah.
Any other pictures, Carl, of actually downtown, rather than an aerial shot? If you have them, or if you just want to go through some pictures, that's fine too.
Yeah.
There you go. Endicott Johnson shoes.
Right.
That's the wood block.
The woodblock.
That's
yes.
the wood
Right
block,
there.
yeah.
So Woolworths was there, and Newbury's was over near Bank of America on the other side of that.
If you notice on the wood block, one floor is gone. There
Right.
used to be a fire there that had a clock and so forth.
Yeah.
Right.
So that,
And it was common downtown when they had a fire. They just took the top floor off, and that
Yeah.
was it.
well,
Where-
Scanlon, on the
Scanlon
one-
building?
Yeah.
And
Scanlon
then,
building.
And then where the travel agency is.
Yeah.
That had an
wood-
additional
yeah.
floor to
I
it.
can remember that fire
Yeah.
going through.
But look at Woolworths, and there's Brockman's Market. You can see Woolworths over there. So to the left of it, that building is still there as well. And Leominster Finance was upstairs for a billion years, but Brockman's Market. And then go to the left. What was that? Wasn't that another shoe store there? No. It was Endicott Shoes. Okay.
Endicott shoes,
Did that change hands or something? Was that another shoe store? Didn't that have a downstairs to it? Endicott Johnson Shoes?
I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
could have sworn it had
Could've.
a downstairs. And I don't remember if. Now, where was Student Brothers Shoes?
Wasn't that there eventually?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Then it turned
I
into
think
Student
just
Brothers.
Student
Yeah.
Brothers.
Right.
Because that's where Mike
Scaramucci were.
Scaramucci, yeah.
Right. So if you go to the right of that, so the wood block, if you go to the right of that, that would have been where the bank is now.
Yeah.
That what was over there? Sabatelli's?
You had Sabatelli's, you had Gloria
Sabatelli's,
Chain,
yeah.
and all those.
Gloria Chain
Gloria
was a
Chain.
food
Right.
store?
Food
Oh,
store.
yeah. Italian food, especially if you want
Is
the
that it
olive
right
oil.
there?
The
I
good
can't
olive
see
oil,
from the
the
lights.
Festina.
Yep. So that was it right there, I think.
Yeah.
And the upstairs. Now, one thing that Leominster did that was a very good idea. Hold that picture right there. But the one thing that we always did was there were always apartments
Yeah,
above
yeah.
upstairs, which gave you some people that would come in. But I remember people would walk from everywhere. If you didn't have not a lot of people, but they had the bus was big, right?
Right.
The old
Oh,
bus
yeah.
was big.
You had,
And-
you had a good system.
Right. And look, there's the Anderson Bagley Mayo Insurance Company building to the right.
Yeah.
And look how cool it was. Everybody had an
They
awning
were
at
upstairs.
the time.
They were upstairs over your place.
There's an upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a dance studio above. Yeah.
Almost
where you
everywhere
looked
had
at- yeah.
either a moose or the eagles or
Yeah.
somewhere like that. So there's Sabatelli's. And then, of course, to the right would have been the brook, right? Where the guardrail is there, the wrought
brook,
iron.
The brook was covered. There was a building over it.
Really?
Yeah.
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 So
Who was that? Was that Lubens or Rubens?
Well, that was
in
to the
there?
right of it. Oh, there's Gloria
There's
stores
Student
there.
Brothers there.
There's Student Brothers.
Yeah.
And Castellato.
Yeah.
And so Student Brothers was different, right? Was that in the same? Was that the same spot as Brockman's shoe store?
Brockham's. What happened to Brockham's?
I don't know.
That's a
I don't
good
know if that's the
question.
same building. I think they were in the wood
They
block.
were in the, no, they were, yeah, either the wood block or the one next to it,
Yeah, yeah.
closer to Mechanic Street.
Right.
Right.
Yes. Feeney's shoe. Somebody just asked, wasn't Feeney's shoe store downtown? Yes, they're in the building. Near Wickham's, right? That's on that other side. But this is
Wickham's
looking from the square. Now see that? See where those guys are standing to the left?
Right.
That was a giant flagpole. I think it must have been
Yes.
like 80 or 90
Yes.
feet.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
think it might have been made out of wood, but maybe not. Maybe it was made out of steel at the time. But look at everybody sitting on the benches downtown. I mean, it was a hopping place. That was a trolley, not a bus that we see
Yeah.
right in front of us.
Yeah, you can see it.
Right.
Okay, that's the old YMCA, right? Gaffney
Yeah.
Drug.
Conroe,
Gaffney's,
Rialto's Theater.
Gaffney's drugstore. Yeah.
And they had everybody had one of those counters, right? The sort of soda fountain and the soda
Oh,
counter.
yes.
I don't think there was one in there.
No,
though.
there wasn't.
Nixon's had one.
They did. I still think the
And
coolers
Green's
are
had one.
downstairs.
Green's over on the corner of Mechanic and Depot
No, I remember that.
Square.
There was
They
there
had
was
one.
a drugstore near
And then-
Water Street and Mechanic. And
Yeah,
had
that
a-
was Dufort.
There's a Rialto.
There you go. The Rialto Theater.
Yeah.
That's in the old the what's now the new Christian Life Center.
Yes.
And so now that's looking down Mechanic. So
Yes.
that's looking up. So if you're coming up from Route 2 and you get to Mount Pleasant Ave, or you get to Ginny's,
Yeah.
all right, if you're looking and you're driving straight, that's to the right-hand side was a building that was right over the river, right?
Yeah.
To the
Oh,
right-hand
right.
side.
Yeah.
That
And then to
burned.
the left-hand side was the jeweler, and then another theater. You can see the Metropolitan. Would that have been the Met?
No,
No,
Plymouth.
that was the
Plymouth. was-
Plymouth. I'm sorry. That's
Plymouth
right.
Theater.
Plymouth.
To the right of that was Laureate's gift shop.
Right. Right.
And
yeah,
then,
But to the
Laura's,
left.
Yeah.
So that would have been where Spencer's Cafe was. Rex's Diner would be to the left of that. So those were. So what you're looking at right there on the left, where Robichaud is, that's what we call the parking lot, right? That's the
yeah,
parking
right,
lot
that's
over
the
there.
parking lot.
Everything was marked down. You had
And
the
where
bowling
is
alley.
this? This is
Manning
Manning
Avenue.
Ave.
That's Manning Ave.
So if you are coming from City Hall and you're going down Central Street,
On the
and on what bank is that?
Don't
Enterprise Bank.
Yeah.
See where it says Rubens on the left?
Yeah.
They knocked that down to put Enterprise Bank, and on the right is Auntie Ellen's. So if you look straight ahead and you come out of Manning Ave, that was Electric Supply and
Yep,
City Cleaners.
That's right, getting electric.
That's City Cleaners.
Yeah,
City
Castellanos,
Cleaners later moved down next to the Tankin.
There's the Boston Confectionery, and that's what it
Yeah.
looks present day.
Let's see. Okay. So that's that area. The
Yeah.
Boston
Yeah.
Confectionery
Yeah.
would have been that little alleyway between Rye and Time. Here's another view here of so see that church? That church is no longer there, but
Demolished.
that's
The
right
Methodist.
before where my store is.
Right.
Yep.
So right after, if you're coming from Central Street, you're going downtown, on the right is Bank of New England, and then this building would have been there.
This is now a parking lot.
Right,
That
for the Bank
building-
of New England.
Yeah.
And then there's the old Red Cross building, and that's where Newbury's would have been in the church.
Yeah.
And that's what would have been in that area right there. So
And-
was that St. Leo's Church or no?
No,
No.
that was Methodist Church.
Methodist.
They moved up to
And,
Marion Avenue,
Oh, yeah,
corner of
yeah.
Hall Street.
Yes, yes,
Right
yes.
there.
And the
so then-
bank on the corner was Merchants National Bank.
Yeah.
Right, merchants. But why did they knock
I
down
worked there.
the church? What was
So
the
right there.
Well,
what was the reasoning behind that?
I think in the 38 hurricane, the
Steeple? came
steeple
down?
was damaged.
Oh, okay.
And it was just too
It's
expensive
too
to
bad.
repair it.
You know how many churches we have downtown?
And-
It's the only one not with us anymore.
And the other one is there was no parking.
Right, that's true. As the automobile became more popular,
Right.
you needed a place to. The next thing people wanted is a place to
Right.
park.
Oh,
Right,
Because,
definitely.
down behind was all built in.
right. So there was no place. Now there's parking lots that
Yeah,
came out.
the
Can we
bank-
go to that last picture for a minute,
The bank
just for a
made
second?
it.
That last one, because that's the building that I'm in with Central Flag and
Yep.
the bead shop
Right.
and the.
That's where
Kyle, can you go back to that last picture? Okay.
and above your place was Mandarin Bagley. Then they moved across the street to
Oh, okay. You already went by that one? That's fine. Not a biggie. Yeah, and there was a dentist upstairs, and
Yeah.
then Dr. Remy was over. Was he at the upstairs from Merchants or upstairs from that building that
Let's
had
see.
Newbury's?
let's see.
I can't really say. I know that the first dentist we had was in the Columbia Hotel.
There was
That
one there.
And you had the dance studio.
Oh.
And, we just
Doctor we
posted-
met was over. It was in your block.
All right.
Oh, there was.
So
oh,
that's the building where.
Oh, I know.
That's the building where Werner's was.
Yep.
J.C. Penney. You can see J.C. Penney. I can't see what was all the way to the left. Something jeweler, Gaudet Jewelers.
Gaudet's, right?
Okay.
And
That's-
then there was oh, who was that? I can see the lady too. The French lady had a dress store.
Okay, that's in there
I think
somewhere,
it was
probably
a
in the
dress
middle.
store. Yeah.
And J.C. Penney. Imagine that J.C. Penney was actually downtown.
Yeah.
Imagine
Yeah.
that.
Was right
Yeah.
How
there.
cool. Western Auto, all those places were downtown. And there is, that's the Merchants building right there.
Yes.
And look at that corner spot, huh?
Yeah.
You know how valuable that
That's
would be
what-
for retail today?
That's what Dufour's drug was.
Yeah.
So that was that was the
Yeah.
drugstore I was
Yeah.
talking about. That was pretty big, right?
Oh, yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was
Well, something went down all the way to the side, almost all the way down Mechanic
It was
Street.
narrow.
Was it?
Yeah.
Right, but I think it followed down Mechanic
It
Street.
went down Mechanic Street a ways.
Right, right.
Let's see that
You can see the
the
stools.
counter. They had a fountain.
Right, they can see the stools right there. I remember that.
Yeah, it wasn't.
That I remember.
It wasn't as big as Green's or
See, now
Nixon's.
it's called the McGrath Building.
That's Mechanic Street.
Yeah.
To the left is Cutiques and Fenwick's was downstairs. That's the building Peter Bovenzi is
Yeah.
doing over. And across the street was, I remember the fire. The
Yeah.
fire must have been in the 60s because I remember it.
There was also a bowling alley there.
Well, I
Was
went,
there?
Yeah, we went down
On the right-hand side?
down
On the
on the
right-hand
cellar.
side.
And the
Coming
left-hand side
inside.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That
That
was
was-
upstairs.
yeah, that was
And
Putz
the one on
Bowling
the
Alley.
right-hand side was down in the basement.
Yeah.
It was, huh?
Yeah.
And that's down by the river.
Oh, yeah.
It's over the river.
So
It was over
that
the river.
picture was in the late 50s or 60s, right? This picture here,
Yes.
right?
I can't really see it, so.
Yeah, there's the
Late
bowling.
50s.
There's the bowling
You gotta
sign right
turn over
there.
this
Yeah.
way.
There's the Blue
okay.
Moon.
That's
Yeah.
better. Thank you, Mike.
And again, apartments and offices
Yeah.
above.
Yeah.
Look how much was there. The Gulf Station was on the corner. That's
Yeah.
a dog
See
grooming
the
place.
bowling sign?
Yeah. That was a lot downtown, huh?
What else
You
was
know,
that?
it was very.
Yeah.
You had
There's a
the
lot
Moose
here.
Club on the other side.
There you
It's
go.
Tim.
There's the Wonder Bar.
Yeah.
Then
Tim.
the Esso station over there. That's Dr. Crowley's office.
Yeah.
Tim's Diner.
Yeah.
Still there. It still looks
Yeah,
the
of
same.
course.
Yeah.
And
That moved from across the street.
Right. And so does
Which was
so does that
Hemingway's.
building right there. And there it is later
There's
on.
where it is.
There's a 60, 70 something Duster.
Yeah.
So that was in the 60s, 70s, so that's
Oh,
Warner's.
yeah, that's right.
And an insurance company there. See, I actually remember that. Foster Healy Real
That's
Estate
right.
was there. And I don't remember who was at the end, but that's a Plymouth Duster right
Real
there, I think,
estate.
Yeah.
on the right-hand side. So that's a 60-something.
Factory.
All right, well, you got me on
Exactly.
this one. Is this down where Dunkin' Donuts used to be, down that
It
side?
says Star Cleaners. I'm not sure where it was though.
Yeah,
They
Star
moved a
Clean.
couple of times, Carl.
Yeah.
Star oh, I'm sorry. Well,
Almost.
wasn't Star on Franklin Street? No. What cleaners was that on
That's
Franklin
got
Street?
a parking meter, so it has to be
It's
fairly
downtown
close
somewhere.
to town.
Unfortunately, John's wife's in the hospital, so
You
that
remember
couldn't
all
get-
this.
You know, he has a terrific
He's
memory.
amazing. The guy's got an incredible memory.
Star
I mean,
Cleaners.
He's going through his father-in-law's pictures now and picking
He
up
remembers
different
everything.
people.
He remembers it all.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be. That's Philco. That's on the first TV
That's Mechanic
place.
Street.
They sold the first TV. That's right. Is
It's
that across
labeled,
the street?
Radio Electric.
Yeah, Radio Electric, right.
Where was that? Trying to
Mechanic-
figure that one out.
Mechanic Street.
Mechanic Street.
Oh, that was. Okay, I
Just-
can see the
just
buildings.
before the Plymouth Theater.
No, even if you went down Manning Ave, remember there were apartment buildings down there? I mean,
See?
everything was pretty much built on.
There's
There's the
there
Plymouth.
it is.
Yeah.
And
Roy
then
Rogers.
right before it was the place that fixed TVs and all that, right?
Radio.
And then
what
there's
was
that
his
building. You know, it's unfortunate that's gone, but at least that next building there where the Plymouth Cafe was,
Yep.
Yeah.
that's still there.
name? Yep.
So that's good. And then, you know, it's too bad some of it's
That's
gone,
in the
but
40s, 50s, early 50s.
that's not unlike a lot of downtowns that lost a lot of buildings through fires, right?
Yeah. Basically,
Yeah,
it
we
was,
had down on
fires.
Central Street.
There's
You
a
know,
Royal
little kitchen.
yeah, the little kitchen,
Yeah.
and the Royal Diner.
Boy, they had the best steak.
Did they really, huh? The
Oh.
diner?
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, everybody would go to the little kitchen after a dance.
Oh,
and
little
so
kitchen.
forth.
Right.
Yeah,
But then the Royal Diner
Yeah.
is right next to it.
right.
Yeah, that's right.
And then next door, oh, go back to that one. Go back.
Leominster Savings. That's
Yeah.
the new one.
Yeah.
That was a 70s. Okay. Then after that, Salvation Army was in that building
Yeah,
after that.
Right.
But I don't know how long they were there, though. What was there before that? Was it always the Salvation Army?
As
or-
far as I
Then Wolfram Rahmet owned that building there, and then they ended up tearing that building down.
Oh,
I
then it
think.
went into the jewelry store. Right?
Then the jewelry store,
Yeah.
right? And then the
Joseph's.
Then there was a automotive Leominster Taxi was in there somewhere where I think the diner was, where Royal Diner was.
yeah.
Okay, you can move on.
These are great.
So that was on the. All right, let me figure this one out.
Oh, that.
This looks like North Main Street.
No.
No, that's Main Street.
Main Street near what?
No, that one right
On the-
there.
on the-
That's down the bottom of Whitney Street and
No, no, I think
it's Spruce Street. The
I
corner
dis-
there, right across from Whitney Carriage.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I think it's Irvine
that's not the
Shell
one
on the
by
corner of
Whitney
Walnut
Carriage.
Street and Main Street.
Oh, okay. That's still
Okay.
an old gas station.
See that house
The
up
house in
there?
the back. That's what I
Oh.
said.
Up,
Yeah,
up the
okay.
hill. And you can see the fence.
No,
Yeah.
He's right.
That's what I remember. Grants.
Yeah.
W.T. Grants. That
Oh, yeah,
building's
of
still
course.
there.
Yes.
Right.
The Leominster Hardware. That's where you work, Chet.
Yep, that's where I worked.
And Leominster Federal Savings and Loan.
Yep,
WEIM was upstairs.
Yeah.
that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. WEIM. I think they had like a Leominster. They were in Fitchburg, but I think they had like a Leominster studio,
Probably. yeah.
right? They had like an annex, so they wanted to have a shingle hung here. But Grants had it downstairs.
Yep.
Yeah.
They sold appliances
Oh, yeah,
downstairs.
the way down, the
walked
Sabatellis moved
downstairs.
into there.
Yeah, yeah.
I can remember going down and looking at the TVs.
TVs.
And going right through.
And the name brand was Bradford.
Yeah.
That's what they sold.
Yep.
And the remarkable thing is that seemed like a huge department store, right?
Yep.
Didn't it? The Grants and Newberry's and
Yep.
and Woolworth seemed like huge places. They were the big stores at the time,
They were, yeah.
right, Mike? I mean, do you remember going into those places?
Remember Grants, yeah. Well,
Grants,
Yeah.
huge, but they seemed like big stores
Well, you're a kid, yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
Time, yeah.
And there's,
They were.
well, that's where the Tankard is in that area, Boston Fish,
Yeah.
TC Lando's, Red and White grocery store. That was the name brand, right? Red and
Yeah.
White,
Yeah.
kind of like a franchise.
It
And then,
was a
who,
franchise, yes.
and then who's,
Rogers.
go back there for a second. And then whose jewelry store was in the middle there?
Can't read it.
Yeah. I don't remember whose that is.
Looks like ball.
Yeah.
Oh,
Somebody ball.
So those buildings are still up, and then
Yeah.
the I guess that must have been where Mayor Sawtell's
Wow.
hardware store
Yeah.
was in there, right?
Yeah.
Says
Yeah,
paint.
That's right.
That, I'm sure it wasn't still his, but maybe it
Wow.
was. I don't know.
That must be
And there's the old police station, and then next door is the church. That's
Yeah,
the
the
corner
Baptist-
of
First Baptist Church.
Baptist Church in West Street.
Yeah.
And the police station had a set of stairs. They had public restrooms there.
Yeah.
They had 1,000 stairs you'd have to walk down
Downstairs, yeah.
to use them.
The bell that's up there on top of the steeple is now
At
on
the top of City Hall?
Yeah, on top of City Hall is now at the Common.
Yeah.
That's where you see the.
But is the steeple looks a lot like City Hall one, see it?
Yep,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
I wonder if they kind of moved it and fabricated it. And that goes back, that's the 40s, right? Right there. And who could forget First National?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had
Took down-
S&H green stamps.
Oh,
Took down
boy.
the Allen
that was
House.
their trademark, yeah.
Yeah, they had fresh ground coffee up front.
Oh, the smell of the coffee when you
Right,
watch it,
yeah.
when you walk into the
I
store.
didn't even like coffee. And was Ruth Lee's right next door? It looks
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
At that time,
That's
too?
right, yeah.
They-
And then there's Friendly's. Jeez, it seemed like a long time ago, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Friendly's?
You know, you're speaking of smell of the coffees. I don't know whether anybody remembers the smell of the donuts at Brockleman's.
Oh, God.
Did they make them right there?
Right in the window.
Really, huh?
Yeah.
So everybody could see them. How could you walk by a place
Well,
that
you
had
couldn't.
donuts?
You always had to go in
As
and
a
get
school
one.
kid, you walk by and see if they had any broken
Yeah, there it is.
donuts, and
There
they'd
it
give you
is.
whatever
That's a great picture.
things.
That is good. 978-537-7760. If you have a memory or something you want to share about the downtown or the city. So as I think back, as I see those buildings, there are a lot of buildings missing. They're all parking lots now, right?
yeah.
I mean, they came down a lot of times because of fire.
That's right.
And you know, that's sad. I want to thank. We had the Cub Scouts in a couple of weeks ago, and they came to see me. And there's one from Sean, and he says, "Thank you, Mayor Mazzarella, for taking the time out of your day to teach us about city history." And he writes me a little note there.
Oh, very
And
good.
then we had another one that says, "Dear Mayor, Merry Christmas from Blessing to Mayor Mazzarella." And he's got a snowman and a
Right.
very colorful Christmas
Tree.
tree in there.
Yeah.
Well, it's one thing about the tour that we have for the third graders and second graders every year, at least 4 schools, and maybe 5 this time.
Oh, yeah.
And,
A thank card from
And the
that.
questions these kids ask
Yeah.
about history, they amaze me. They embarrass me too.
Well, I think what they need to know is there were no malls, no strip malls for the most part. Everything was small mom and pop stores.
Right.
And you went from
Yep.
store to store to store, right? I mean, your appliances came from somebody you knew. And that's really what kept the community moving, right?
And credit. They used to give you credit.
Yeah,
Every
right.
so often, you
Right.
pay so often.
Oh, who could afford it?
That was it.
Right.
When you talk, when you go to, especially, I was talking with my wife that she would put something on layaway.
Right.
And we
Layaway
pay-
was big.
Oh,
Pay $5,
that was.
$5.
You put a little bit down each week. Each week you go through,
Yeah.
and finally get it all paid. Then they
Right.
give you the merchandise.
Yeah, they didn't give it to you until it wasn't not like now. You use a credit card and they give it to you, and then you start paying on it.
Yeah.
Then it was you know they'd hold on to
Yeah.
it for you.
They still have layaway, though.
Some people do.
Yeah.
And one day,
I can
I
remember.
don't know if I told you the story, but one day I was talking about how people used to drive around in automobiles and station wagons and sell things. So I was talking about Wexler, and he used to
Oh,
come
yeah,
around and
right.
sell clothes.
Clothes.
Oh,
yeah.
yes. Yeah.
And then Mr. Softy was Steve, was it not from Migan? Steve, was it? No, Steve, Dr. Popley? No, was it Steve Popley? Anyway, I'll
Probably
think of his
Steve,
name.
yeah.
Anyway, he
It
used to be
sounds familiar.
Mr. Softy, and he used to come through the streets. And almost everything was delivered, and they'd deliver soda from, Bedoyne's, and they'd deliver soda from Leominster Beverages, and everybody. And then I said, and there used to be a guy that used to come around that used to sell toys.
Yep.
Yes.
And I said,
cheese.
Right.
yeah,
Wooden
and-
toys.
And I said, and the next day, I got a phone call in my office, and they said, this very nice, soft-spoken lady's on the phone. I picked up the phone, and she said, Mayor? And I said, yeah. She goes, this is Mrs. Dignard. And
Oh,
I said,
gee.
that's the guy.
Yeah.
And she said, my husband's the guy you were talking about that used to go from house to house, street to street,
Street,
and
yeah.
sell toys out of the back of his car. In fact, she said, if you combine my house, the station wagons, he had a couple, are still in my yard.
Wow.
And she lived behind Shaw's.
Okay.
And she said, you can come. And I went by, and there they were. There
Were
they
they
were.
Woodies? The wooden top
Yeah.
side panels?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
And I remember him coming by.
Yeah.
And almost everybody had credit, right? Sabatelli's had
they
credit.
all do.
Everybody had credit, because who could afford to buy
No.
some of the things? And you're right, I mean, you just couldn't. And then, do you remember this? Do you remember Wexler used to come around in his
Clothing.
clothing? Do you remember that he opened the store?
I didn't remember that.
It
no.
was downstairs from Roma Bakery, next to Victory,
Oh,
on Lancaster Street.
okay.
And he had a,
Okay.
it was in the basement, a set of stairs next to Roma, and he had a son. I think his name was Jack Wexler too. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, I think
he
so.
also
I think
worked
you're right.
downstairs in there. So it didn't. I don't know how long they were down there, but it was kind of cool because you walked down the
Yeah.
stairs and they had everything kind of laid out, and they weren't upstairs in a storefront, but I'm sure the rent was, less expensive.
right.
But and then Rockdale's.
Oh, gosh, that was,
Rockdale's.
my wife and I spent a lot of time there. My mother-in-law worked upstairs in the lane dresser when they were
Right.
up there. So go downstairs and walk right through. We have a few pictures, but showing the inside
Right.
and how everything was laid out.
There it is.
Yep.
There's
Yeah.
Rockdale's right there. So Rockdale's, for anybody that's watching that isn't old enough to remember, Rockdale was kind of like Spags used to be. It's Capital Toy.
Yeah.
It's the floors were wood and
Kmart.
would,
yeah.
sort of
Oh.
would you'd hear them.
You'd be afraid you're going to fall through.
Yeah. And when you walk down a ramp, and to the left there was
Yeah.
a snack bar, right? And
I
the
forgot
hot
about
dogs
that.
would be rolling on the rotisserie there. And then you took a right, and the toy section was, of course, that was important, the toy section, right?
Yeah.
But everybody had a job at the time, and mostly manufacturing. Everybody worked in some sort of a job. Or you worked part-time in one of these retailers.
Right.
But everybody worked. Everybody had a job. Now, there's automation and robotics, so you don't have as many people working, but
No.
pretty much everybody worked in either the textile, places that made clothing, or plastic.
Right.
Everybody had a job doing that.
Well,
or
I
construction.
went through that when I was working for Sylvania GTE. I had 20 people working for me. Then when the computers came in,
Right. You know,
Do you remember Mr. Fine selling clothes house to house?
Mr. Fine, no.
Was there a Mr. Fine?
No.
Okay. And then, I don't know if we have any pictures of Feeney's, but that building is still there now.
Yeah.
Monument Music School, my nephew's music school's
Yeah.
there. And there's another business going next to it, and then there are a bunch of apartments above it.
Let's go back to Rockdale's.
Yes.
That was Whitney Carriage Company.
Right.
Back in the late 1800s, they employed 275 men, and they made 50,000 carriages yearly.
That's
I mean,
phenomenal.
and
Worldwide.
How many buildings?
oh gosh.
And they made the carriages were high-end
don't-
carriages.
oh yeah,
That was
yeah.
their prediction, is that
That's-
they would make a high-quality carriage, and people would spend that kind of money.
Yep. And I remember reading that back in about that era, some Arab potentate or whatever you call
Yeah.
it visited,
Yeah.
and he ordered one,
Did he really?
and they sent one. And also, back in the 30s, when the quintuplets were born in Canada, they made the carriage for them, and they donated it to the.
We have a carriage, baby carriage.
Yes.
at the
we
office.
still have one
We
at
have
the
one at City
commission.
Hall.
And there's one at the City Hall.
Yeah, we got one at
City Hall,
City
as
Hall,
well as
too.
one at Society.
Yes, society.
Society
And
has
working-
one too.
But
I had
anyway.
the very fortunate that I met the great grandson
That was one of the
to
most.
Whitney's, and he brought the carriage to us and gave it to us.
Really?
Yeah.
One of the,
Yeah.
Wow.
All the way from, what was it?
Out in the Midwest.
Oklahoma or something. I don't know.
Wow,
Arab-
really, huh?
Oklahoma or what else is next to Oklahoma? But in that area, yeah.
He put it in his car and I
Yeah,
was going
they
on a
brought
trip
it.
to New Hampshire.
He dropped it
dropped
off.
it off.
How cool. Well, he wanted it to be, remain.
That's right.
The Hudson apple peeler was made in Leominster.
Oh, boy.
Right. Yep, one of them. One firm did that.
When you look
That
at all
area.
these tools, And going right through, and I love going through the society when you see all the tools that
Yeah.
they did just to make all the combs and so forth. So there's a lot of history here in Leominster, and
Right.
it's unbelievable.
Chet, what was it like growing up in Leominster during the holidays?
During the holidays.
People didn't have much. It may seem like you had a whole
You know,
lot. You did.
The
but-
buses that came into town were loaded. You couldn't, on a Saturday night or a Thursday night, you could hardly move on the street.
Really?
For the people.
Because people got
There
paid.
were no cars.
Right. And people got paid.
Everybody came in. Yeah, Thursday night was
Thursday
the
night
pay night.
was the big night.
So everybody stayed open. All the stores stayed open till 9 o'clock.
I can still remember the hot
then-
dog man. We had
then-
to be right near where Subway is now.
Yeah.
He'd be have a station
Yeah.
come there. After a dance, we'd stop and have that. I don't know what it was about those hot dogs, but they were
Yeah,
delicious.
of course
Oh,
they
yeah.
were.
Yeah.
Well, they were boiled ones, weren't they? I think they were boiled.
Yeah, like broiled. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Mike's the hot dogs man, right?
Yeah, right.
And so everything was bustling. I mean, it's
Oh,
you know, the
yeah.
shop owners were busy, and
Yeah,
a couple
right.
of different shoe stores downtown, bakeries,
Right.
supermarkets, little mini markets, everything. Drugstores were downtown.
Yeah, right.
Do you remember Don Barry, circa
Yeah.
1950? That was a shoe store, I believe.
I,
Yeah,
And eventually,
on the lower part of the wood building.
Saw that
Over in the corner.
Manpower
Was it?
Temporary
I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
Corner Mechanic in Monument Square.
Yeah,
there.
it was in there.
Yeah.
There was a couple businesses in there.
Yeah,
Right.
my brother had one, Rome Specialty Advertising.
Yeah.
And then it was Don Barry back way in the 50s.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of history to that building, that part of the building.
Yeah.
And there was one
Yep.
business here we really didn't talk that much on, speaking of family-owned businesses, Monty's Garden. That
Right.
was something that really,
Right.
Yeah, that was quite the
the
place.
end of an era there, 1933 to 2007.
Right. They were there for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gee, we still have the sign. We
Yes.
kept it. It's over at Emergency Management.
The
Just
family
fine.
was well liked, as well as they came to the commission and gave us a book with all their history on
Right.
it. So we have that in the digital form. And one of the things, my grandson worked there as a dishwasher.
Really, yeah?
So you talk to different people that work.
Oh, tons of people work
I mean,
there.
that was a good training. That
Sure,
was, you
sure.
get a job to, hey, you learn how to clean a dish. But there was a lot of,
And who would host Santa Claus, Chet? Do you remember going to any special place where they would host Santa Claus?
I can't remember. Yeah,
Rockdale's had one, I remember
Yeah.
that.
yeah, right.
And
They used to
what-
come into town on the fire truck, I think.
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to ask you. Is like we have a lot of festivals now. So we have the Johnny
Yeah.
Appleseed Festival and the Cannoli Fest and the
Right.
Summer Fest and the Winter. Did you have those sort of growing up?
I don't remember those.
No.
But
No.
then again, for a while we lived about 2 miles out of town and we didn't have a car, so
So anything you did, you had to walk in.
all the bus.
But the churches held a lot of things, right? I mean, the churches were kind
Yeah,
of like the
churches
places
were the center,
where,
really.
where people socialized too,
Yeah,
right?
And then you had a lot of clubs too.
Like the Moose and the Elks and
The Elks,
I don't know, the Eagles and the
Eagles,
Oddfellows Hall. and-
Oddfellows,
right.
yeah.
So that was a lot of places where, and all the Italian clubs, and that's where a lot of people
Yeah.
socialized as well, right?
right, because that surprised me when I moved here to Leominster, to see so many different Italian clubs
Mm.
going right through. And eventually working with Hank Lascotti, we
Right.
started getting more information
Right,
on that.
and they're all now in Fitchburg, up at Fitchburg State University,
we
right?
worked with Fitchburg University Italian Culture Center, and we put together a lot of it. And eventually we're going to show it on our Facebook page. And getting that.
978-537-7760 is the number to call. Chet Carter, Mike Kerrigan, Rocco Palmieri. We're going to do some, let's do pictures of the week. What's that, guys? We'll do pictures of the week whenever you guys are ready back there. There we go.
Oh,
There's the gingerbread house. So what happens
Yeah.
is they take that house in the middle, all the kids come in and they help decorate it. And by the time it's through, that thing's the largest gingerbread house in the state. It's huge, and it's all made by kids. And there's the Festival of Trees going on, and then we had the bell ringers there a little later. Let's go to the next slide, please. There's our inflatables. We had a number of them at different parts of town. They're all free. That's the nice part about all of our activities. They were free. And I'll tell you, it was supposed to end at 5, And we just still had a crowd of people downtown at 5 o'clock. And, how do you ask a bunch of people that are having fun to leave, right? So we stayed another 15 or 20 minutes, and then we started announcing that, the parade started at 5. And there was good, we were probably still downtown at 5:20. So anyway, next slide, please. There's Santa. Kids are having a ball. It was a perfect day. And Santa saw quite a few kids. And each got a candy cane. And as I understand it, every kid was happy to see Santa. And there's our state police car. It's pink. It is the breast cancer and cancer vehicle that is belongs to the Massachusetts State Police. So we thank them for coming out with us and taking part in not only in the stroll but the parade. And there's our train ride. They gave a lot of train rides. It was 5 something, and they were still giving train rides. It was still a line of people over there by the old Leominster Savings Bank. Next slide, please. There we are at Central Flag and Gift. And I don't know what year it is, but it's fun to make chestnuts because either people have eaten them before, have tried them, and they like them, or they never tried them, and they just figure, geez, this might be the perfect time to try a chestnut.
When you grow up in an Italian family, every Christmas
It's part of
you
the
have
culture.
to have that.
So anyway, some people like them, and then some people just keep them and hold on to them because they're pretty warm, right? They're nice and hot.
Yeah.
So we went through quite a few chestnuts. Boy, and again, I was still giving them out at 5:15, and the parade was supposed to start at 5, Mike. So what are we going to do? There's a line. There was a line the whole day for chestnuts. So
turn
anyway,
down.
right, exactly. So I'm like, no, we're not going anywhere. We're staying right there. Beautiful concert. Montechusett Chorale, and
Very nice.
beautiful concert that day. I'll tell you, there's nothing better than a concert at City Hall. Really.
The sound is beautiful.
Carl's brother Steve was saying how the orchestra from the Colonial Band just loves to be there and love to perform. There's something extra special about it. Next slide, please. The Knights of Columbus, once again, they sponsor for them is Boucher Construction, and they put on this dinner for seniors, and it's all done by volunteers. And I'll tell you, what a spread they put out, and they had some music and dancing after. Thank you to the Knights of Columbus, Steve Boucher, Boucher Construction, for hosting all of our most senior citizens. And boy, they had a heck of a time. There we are on North Street. We've got new pavement down. That is not the final grade. That is just what I told everybody is if we didn't get to finish the whole project, $9.2 million, impossible to get it done in 1 year. We'd at least smooth it out. We did. Put some lines down. Work continues down there. They're doing a culvert pipe, and they're going to stick with it until the weather gets real bad. But they're hanging in there right now. They're doing a culvert further down. But anyway, it's smooth enough to drive on, and I don't think anybody could survive another winter down there. Next slide, please. Hey, there's the sheep. I took that picture. It's me looking at the sheep, look at me. That's the name of that picture. And they're hanging down there. For some reason, they gather on that Mechanic Street side in the morning now. I'm not sure if that's the first place the sun sort of comes, but they hang around one of those vents over there. I'm not sure what's coming out of it. Next slide, please. Hey, there's our snowman from downtown, huh? He's an icon now. We can't get rid of him. He has to be, he's the first version of those kinds of things that actually had music and that you could tune a radio station to. So he's iconic now, so there's no way of getting rid of him. Next slide, please. There's the tree lighting. Wendy crawled, step by step, crawled up into the cupola at City Hall to take that picture. Look at that, huh?
Wow.
What a beautiful picture. That says it all, doesn't it?
That's
There's everybody gathered in the common. Santa arrives on a fire truck, and look at all the beautiful lights. Historic downtown Leominster.
And the train ride.
And the next slide, please. There we are at the Drake House. Wendy went in and cleaned the place out, the inside. I mean, the outside's done, but the place needed to be cleaned up. It was dusty, and she went in. She got a side of donuts and everything. There we are out front in our Victorian garb. Mark Bedanza did a great job giving the history of the Drake House. We did chestnuts, and there's Mrs. Drake right there. And we had a good time. It was a little nippy out that day, and there's Mark and Francis Drake giving a little bit of a history of the room that we were standing in, the house that we were in, and a little bit of abolitionist history. Great job.
Did
It was
they
a fun
show the
event.
trapdoor where
Yes.
they did show
Yes.
that?
And there we are.
Where's
Oh,
Dean?
the new,
That's me to the left.
Oh,
That is our new hockey rink, our new ice skating rink across, that's at Carter Park. And I'll tell you, what a wonderful thing to have it there. We even got fence, and DPW came down and filled it up with water. They set it up. Great job, I'll tell you. Nothing like a community builder more than a little ice rink out there. It's in a
and
perfect
it's safe
spot.
for the kids.
Sure.
You don't, they're not falling
And
through.
if somebody wants something, there's a store across the street, the 7-Eleven. They can run over there. I think they'll even let you use their restroom. And that was the first night, I think, and this couple was there. They've been there like every single night playing hockey. So they're there late, so hockey's not a big deal. And the next slide, please. More pictures of the, it looks like the Knights of Columbus,
It
yeah.
is, yeah.
And look at this.
Oh, boy.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Leon Viat.
Yeah.
Right? He's 100 years old. I'll tell you. His wife, 89, to the right. Sharp couple, boy. I'll tell you, they live alone. And he was a sharp guy, huh?
He was one of 6 brothers in the
Something-
service of World War II.
6 in the service at the same
same
time.
wow.
Unbelievable. There's all the veterans getting their picture taken down there.
Yeah.
Pretty good, huh? There we are, down at, let's see, Sage. That's the name of it, Sage, right down at the old Dodo's Flowers. Kayla Nault, her mother there to the right, Dave Nault to the rear. And they opened it's like specialty plants and gifts, and they did a beautiful job to that building down there. That'd be awesome. Just stop in if you ever get a chance, anybody that's watching.
Well, when we have the Art Association exhibit, they furnish the flowers, and they always do a beautiful job.
Yeah. Now, Festival of Trees is going to wrap up in a couple of days, so get down to City Hall. You can get there on the weekends, 11 to 3.
beautiful.
But it ends on Monday. So you can bid on the trees till noon on Monday, and then it's over. So we started it earlier because people said they didn't have enough time. So make it a point of getting down there. I feel bad when people come in later and the trees are half gone because people are picking them up. Next week, Santa Claus will be on the show. Tell your friends. Let's see what else. Oh, please join us for our second annual, people really love this, Leominster Lights on Saturday, December 15th from 5 to 10 p.m. If you'd like to help spread the word, feel free to share the following options with your Leominster family and friends. So, Leominster Lights is basically a list, and if you're made available online or at City Hall, www.leominsterma.gov, and there's a whole list of all the properties in town that you can go visit.
oh.
You want to go
There's
drive
some
by.
beautiful ones
There's
I've
some
seen
gorgeous
so far,
ones
yeah.
in town, and we have a whole list of them there, and they'll be waiting for you. Just drive by, and some people have, candy canes and all that neat stuff. Now, Mark Marquis' concert's coming up tomorrow night, which is the 14th, and also the 15th, and it's the most peaceful night of the year, and it's $10 to get in. All proceeds will be donated. It's the Unitarian Universalist Church, 15 West Street, and don't forget the Merrimack Valley. So when you think the holiday stuff is over, go to Pilgrim Church, right? Chet,
Yeah.
that's your church? Every
No,
year.
It's not my church, but that's okay.
Oh, that's not your church.
That's
I
all
thought
right.
you went there.
No,
So
it's okay.
every year they host the Merrimack
Yeah.
Valley Bell Ringers. One year I had the flu so bad and I didn't make it, but every other year I was there.
Yeah.
And what I said last week is I think they especially like this because they do concerts everywhere during the holidays, but it gets kind of hectic. They rush home from work. This one is different. This one's on a Sunday night. And it's fun because it's the last concert of the year, and it's a little more relaxed. And the church hosts a dinner for 'em, and they have a great time. What else, guys?
Really
What do we
fun
forget?
to watch them.
Well, like they say, Ron did a program, a video of the church, and looking at what is else beautiful.
Pilgrim Church?
Yeah.
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 Those churches, some of the churches we have downtown, we're lucky
Right.
nothing happened to those.
Oh, yeah.
We're really lucky. What else, Mike? What else did we forget? What's your
Well,
favorite part of history here in Leominster? Endless, huh?
250 years.
I know, but
so,
you kind of focus in on a few things. You did a couple of documentaries
yeah.
recently.
And the one thing I wanted to touch base on some night is the Common. You've got 175 years of history that starts around 1841, and it moves on. And watching the Leominster Common, how it evolved through the decades, decade by decade, it's the the metamorphosis. It's very interesting. And you can sit there with a historian or somebody that's interested and show the different parts of the common. You know, it's just about 2.5, 3 acres. And it just, as I mentioned, 175 years of colorful history.
Right.
You know, I'd like to take a time and how that started, and especially like one day in particular, November 11th, 1929, Bernard Doyle was making sure that even at the height of the Depression, that Leominster would have tribute to her veterans, and he made sure that the World War I memorial went up, the Great War, and then also the Spanish Americans, veterans of the Spanish American War were also recognized.
Right.
So those both monuments went up the same day.
Wow, did they
And
really,
that's-
huh?
Yeah, simultaneously.
So all those monuments downtown stop. You know, people that lived here forever have never stopped by and just took a look and see what they are.
Yeah.
Well, you figure the World War I basically has approximately 30 names of veterans that died through the flu
Right,
or
right.
in action and so forth, not realizing that in Carter Park itself,
Right.
they planted trees in their memories. They kind of shifted back and forth.
Right, right.
So you have the history just of World War I there, and you read, Mike has come up with a listing of people who were young, just in the army. But Mike, what was that? You said they were in there for probably a month or so of basic training when
Yeah,
they got
Fort
hit?
Devens, Camp Devens, and
Right.
then they expired.
Imagine that, huh?
Yeah.
That's incredible. One more plug for the blanket. This is our historic blanket,
that's
50
nice.
bucks. Makes a great Christmas gift. You get one for somebody that used to live here and they don't anymore. And they're just so happy because every time somebody comes to their house and sees their blanket, they can tell them all about our city. Right?
The other day at the lunch, you mentioned about, you know, with the internet, everybody knows what's going
People
on.
from outside,
Immediately, you know.
more people from outside watch the show, I think, here
Yeah.
than inside because, well,
But this was funny. Historically, you'd appreciate this. The monument that they have at the corner of Monument Square and Park Street for the second meeting house in Leominster.
Right.
Okay, that was established 1775. And of course, the following year, the United States, the colonies declared
right,
their
1776.
independence.
Right.
But that didn't happen on July 4th in Leominster.
Right, right.
It took them 10 days for the courier to get from Philly.
Really?
Up to Leominster.
Is that true?
To the, so
That's why.
Leominster, I don't think it was ready. It was either July 14th or July 15th that the courier came over and they said, we are declaring our independence from Great Britain. And they spelt it Gratebrettan. Great Britain. That's how they pronounced it and
Yeah.
spelt it.
How cool.
But it took them 10.5 days, whatever, for
To find out.
for the horseback riding messenger.
And I said the other day, the internet in
Yes,
2
that's what I'm
seconds,
saying.
and then in 8 seconds, it's the wrong story. It went from the right story in 2 seconds,
Right.
and then it went to who knows what when it's through. Thank you guys for coming on. A happy holiday
You're
and a Merry
welcome.
Christmas
Thank
to
you.
you. That was
Merry
fun. We'll
Christmas.
get you on again. People love hearing about the history. I wanted to talk a little bit about the downtown because it was the place at the time. Thank you to the whole crew here at LTV Inside Leominster. Good night. God bless you. Remember, the world is run by those who show up. I'll see you out there skating. Good night.
Have a good time.